10 nights of avoidance, excuses hanging like fog between us. My head hurts, Jenna murmured, barely glancing up from her Merlot. Across the kitchen island, I studied her, the dim pendant lights softening the hard angles of our pristine white marble. The sub-zero fridge hummed. Rain streaked the tall windows framing Seattle's gray evening. She sipped slowly, practiced, distant. I let silence stretch, like I had for 9 previous nights. But tonight it pressed down, unrelenting. 10 straight nights of headaches, I said finally. She exhaled sharply. I tried concern. Persistent, might want a neurologist. She set down the glass too forcefully, lips tight. "You're mocking me," she said. I admitted it, cool, sharp, a woman on edge, holding in frustration. "I'm tired, it's late. I had a full day. To be near me." I asked. Silence, indifference. She turned to the window. "I'm going to bed," she said. I laughed dryly. "Should I sleep on the couch again? Or are you continuing exhausted swan while I pretend everything's fine?" Her shoulders tightened. She walked away, robe swaying. I couldn't tell if I hated her or missed her. The house felt cold, echoing with ghosts of a marriage once warm. I picked up her abandoned glass. Dry, sharp. I knew something was wrong. Morning came weak and gray. Eggs sizzled, espresso hummed. Jenna, damp-haired, scrolled her phone, robe wrapped tight. I placed a breakfast plate before her. Flat acknowledgement. "I scheduled a doctor's appointment." She froze. "You called a doctor for me?" I nodded. She accused me of manipulation. I argued quietly. "I think you're not telling me something." She stormed off. Weeks passed in careful silence. I showed up. Cinnamon coffee by her bedside, folded laundry, dinner cooked without expectation. I didn't touch her. I lit candles, played jazz, smiled softly. Little shifts emerged, her lingering, subtle smiles, but the cold distance remained at night. Her phone never left her. New perfume hinted at secrets. Still, I held hope, naive, believing persistence could thaw the ice. Frustration turned to clarity on a rainy Seattle evening. Dinner, wine, her body close but distant. I reached to brush her hair. She recoiled. "Never ask for intimacy or it's over," she said. Ice sank into my lungs. I pulled back. Her boundaries were rigid, her armor intact. I left. Cold, damp air filled my lungs. Freedom, clarity. The gym became my sanctuary. I hadn't stepped in 2 years. Shoulder stiffness, 40, 8 years of weariness, and yet something about the place felt honest. Nina, my trainer, firm, professional, laughed at my quips, corrected form without pretense. I hadn't checked my phone once. By the session's end, I felt lighter. The gym didn't lie. Tuesday evening, back from training, hair damp, muscles sore. She appeared. Jenna, tight leggings, low, cut tank, hair done, eyes on me, a storm wrapped in intent. "Wow," she said. Sarcasm, venom. She tried to provoke, embarrass, expose me publicly. I stayed calm, grounded. She left, frustration plain on her face. The war she tried to drag me into, I wasn't participating. Back home, stillness. Jenna on the couch, cream sweater, quiet. I told her, "I want a divorce." She stuttered, caught off guard. I explained no anger, only exhaustion. Months of giving, showing up, compromise, met with walls, rules, and coldness. She tried to argue, but the facts were clear. I was done. She tried to reclaim control, to plead, to convince, but my decision was firm. Papers would be signed. Freedom awaited, divorce finalized, glass, chrome, sterile efficiency. Jenna late, sunglasses, black coat, armor intact. She confessed fear, vulnerability, regret. But too late, my hand stayed idle, my pen moved, finality. No satisfaction, just peace. Days later, over lunch with Dr. Leslie, a friend, I learned Jenna was secretly pregnant. Weeks had passed, months of tension, fights, avoidance, and she had moved on mentally before revealing anything. I stared at my coffee. The reality settled in. All my efforts were for something already lost, yet clarity gave steadiness. I had freedom, routines that honored me, and a life no longer held hostage by someone else's manipulation. The trunk was empty except for the usual jumble of emergency supplies and a faint smell of air freshener. My pulse thrummed like a warning drum. I closed it carefully, just enough so it clicked, no one watching. Back inside, the sound of running water from the shower masked my movements. The small victories of surveillance felt absurd, but necessary. I returned to the living room, feet soft against the hardwood, coffee mug abandoned on the counter. Sarah emerged from the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, damp hair cascading over her shoulders. She smiled at me, that rehearsed charm, but the tension in her jaw gave her away. I said nothing, just followed the rhythm of the house, the familiar hum of the fridge, the tick of the wall clock. Days blurred. I watched, observed, kept records in my mind of comings and goings, subtle changes in behavior, inconsistencies in stories. I was meticulous, every detail counted. I learned her habits, the way she avoided certain rooms, how she timed her phone calls. The tension between us thickened, invisible, pressing at the edges of every meal, every shared glance. Then came the night I caught it, the car, the faint glow of a streetlight reflected off the driver's side window. A man's figure crouched inside, familiar in posture, unfamiliar in intent. My stomach tightened. This wasn't a projection or paranoia. This was confirmation. The jacket, the visits, the whispers of intuition. I had known all along, but this was undeniable. I didn't confront her that night. I went to the gym instead. The smell of rubber mats and sanitizer, the repetitive clang of weights, it was a sanctuary from the storm at home. Na greeted me with her usual quiet energy. "Everything okay?" she asked. I nodded, the weight in my chest unspoken. During the session, I realized something profound. Control is an illusion. I could follow, observe, even gather evidence, but I couldn't make anyone else choose honesty or fidelity. The gym wasn't just a place to train muscles. It was a reminder that I could reclaim my agency. Sweat, exertion, and motion became my therapy, my clarity. The confrontation was inevitable. One Tuesday, I returned from a run to find her at the door, posture sharp, eyes calculating. She wanted a reaction. I gave none. Calmly, I navigated the interaction with Nina, scheduling sessions, focusing on routine and recovery. Sarah's attempts to provoke, to insinuate, to shame, all fell flat. I wasn't playing her game. I wasn't chasing validation anymore. Weeks later, our paths collided again. She entered the gym deliberately, performing for me, flaunting attention she assumed I craved. But I was detached, focused on my own work, my own progress. Her smirk faltered. She realized, perhaps too late, that I had shifted. I was no longer caught in the web she tried to weave. The power had moved. Returning home, the house was still. No staged breakfasts, no performances, no expectation. Silence wasn't a punishment anymore. It was space. I could breathe, think, live without the constant emotional gymnastics. I sat with coffee, reflecting. The months of tension, attempts at reconnection, the unraveling of pretense, it all had led here. I knew the next step was definitive. The conversation with her was calm, measured, unflinching. "I want a divorce," I said, not in anger, not in revenge. In finality, she pleaded, argued, cried, but the months of avoidance, silence, and emotional walls had sealed the outcome. I would not retreat. I would not be drawn into guilt or manipulation. The lawyer's office was clinical, neutral, designed to sanitize endings. Forms signed, property divided, no contest, no children. She arrived late, fragile, a shadow of the armor she wore at home. Her confessions, apologies, and regrets came too late. I listened, acknowledged, but did not engage. Acceptance replaced desire. Later, a lunch with Dr. Leslie, an old friend, revealed the truth I hadn't wanted to face. She was pregnant. Not with me. Weeks of distance, rejection, and coldness had aligned perfectly with her choices. The revelation was stark, clarifying, freeing. The months of anguish had been mine alone to bear, the narrative hers to control. I realized I didn't need answers to questions I hadn't asked. I only needed to move forward. I walked in the rain, felt it soak through my coat, and for the first time in months felt clean, unburdened. Gym sessions, physical exertion, quiet evenings, freedom from manipulation, these became my lifelines. The past was heavy, yes, but the present offered clarity. Every rep, every breath, Every step outside reminded me that autonomy was more valuable than comfort at the cost of dignity. I wasn't happy in the traditional sense, but I was steady, clear, alive, the freedom to reclaim myself, to exist outside of her influence, to breathe without calculation. This was peace. And in that clarity, I knew one thing for certain. The war at home had ended, not with reconciliation, but with release. The rain fell, soft Seattle drizzle, a memory and a cleansing. And I finally felt like I could move without fear, without compromise, without losing myself in someone else's manipulation. The world was wet, gray, and alive. And so was I.